today with the second short I was working on. So I'm glad to get that progress moving forward. At first, it was a little bit shaky. I started off with the opening of the short, and then I continue to move forward, and this will go much smoother, I see. There's a lot of cuts. It's detailed. It's kind of dramatic. So, but the story is easy to follow, and so I'm going to continue to move forward on that. And again, it's a relatively short project, and once I finish this, then I'll move on to the feature I've been talking to you guys about. So this is going to be a really short video today. I was on earlier this morning, and we talked about the process of getting ready, starting a new short. So what I did was I followed that process like I mentioned to you guys this morning. I found all the content and I created the folders that the content goes in based on the script, and I was able to divide it relatively quickly. So that was a big plus, and that allowed me to start the editing quicker than I thought. So I did review some of the footage as I moved along in the scenes, and I think I cut maybe 3 scenes today, which is really good. And it's the rough cut. So I will be going back and making J and L cuts, and then obviously the same process that I normally do, sweetening the sound, adding any necessary sound effects, and then this probably will be sent off to a composer to create some original music, or I may use some royalty-free music that I have access to. It's going to be up to the director. But this project is going pretty smooth. Straightforward story. I think I have all the elements on hand, and I will just continue to move forward on this one and do my normal, traditional editing. And again, the reason I'm talking about this in detail on these vertical live stream is because I want to stress the fact that you, as an editor, need to develop your own workflow. And what I mean by that is, how do you cut your projects? What is your style of organization? What feels right to you? I'm just giving you an example of my workflow that I've built over the years, and it works for me. It helps me remember everything I need to do, and that's something that you need to decide on your own. What is my workflow for new projects? Do I like to organize the footage with some outside software? Now, there are programs that you can organize your footage before you even bring it into, for instance, if you're editing with Premiere Pro or you're editing with Final Cut Pro. There are pieces of software where you can sit and put notes about what this shot is, what scene this is. Make your organization even more detailed. And it depends. When I'm working on a project that may be longer, like a feature film that has shot hundreds of hours of footage, then more organization may be necessary before you even get inside Final Cut Pro. And also, there are ways that editors organize when they're working together. There are different procedures that editors use so that they can pass this off to someone else, or they can pass it off to the sound person. So those are the things you need to know if you're part of an editorial team. Most of the projects that I edit, solo editor. But about a year ago or 2 years ago, I did edit a short that was going to be passed off to someone for some more elaborate color correcting. And because we didn't start together, then it was a little bit more difficult for her to follow what I had done. And so I explained to her, my process and how I organize the footage and all that kind of stuff. And then there are ways that editors that work together all the time or within a certain system, that there are traditional ways that they organize footage. And I've been working at this for 35 years and I've developed my own. So sometimes, during the collaboration process, I need to know in advance who I will be working with and how they would like to keep the footage organized, so that when I pass it off, it's in a way that's cooperative with everyone. So that's something to be aware of too. if you decide that this is the path I want to go on and I want to move up in this path where the footage is passed off to a lot of people. Because if there are elaborate special effects, then there are things you need to take in mind, protocols, editing protocols. So that's why, I'm basically talking to you as beginners who are editing small projects. So I won't get into all the details of different systems of ways people edit to collaborate, but just be aware that they are out there. And if you decide this is the path I want to go down, then you need to make yourself familiar with those systems and standards that editors use when they are collaborating. And sometimes when you work on those larger projects, you'll have an assistant editor who will do the initial organization of the files and sound, and probably will sync the double system sound to the video. So that's, you can have, depending on the level of the project and the budget, the assistant can even have an assistant. So it can get really big, it can get really complicated, and it needs to be planned out so that everyone is on the same page. Everyone is working towards the same goal. Everyone is using the same protocols and following them. Years ago, now and I'm talking about 25 years ago, I worked with a independent filmmaker that made a lot of, I just worked for him, it was about a week, because I was doing some editing for him. His name was Donald Jackson. He did a lot of B movies, and he's passed away now. And he did a lot of larger level, what you call, I guess, B movies. I call them product movies, back in the olden days of direct to VHS and direct to DVD. But I worked with one of his editors, and I was just helping him out, and it didn't work out because me and the editor didn't talk beforehand about what he wanted done and how he worked and how I worked. So I worked there for about a week or so and realized that this collaboration was not going to work. So I still stayed friends with Don up until the end of his life. He even hired me a couple of times to do some acting jobs, or offered to hire me. And but both projects, as far as the acting goes, wasn't something that I was interested in at the time, and so I had to turn those down. But you need to know the processes when you're editing. Where will your footage go? Will it go to a sound mixer? Will it go to a color corrector? Will it go into special effects? Is there extensive green screen effects that need to be done? Nowadays, more digital effects. So you need to know the process. You need to follow that process, because it needs to stay in a certain organizational fashion so that everyone can find what they're looking for, the footage. So it can get complicated. But here, I'm just talking about acting, directing, and editing for beginners. So we won't get into all that. I just thought I would touch on it for a little bit. But if that's something you want to follow up, there's plenty of places where you can do that additional research to find out what those protocols are, how the files are organized, how they're grouped together. So again, it can get kind of complicated, and that's why there are assistant editors, because most of the time the assistant editor does all that organizational details to keep the footage and the audio in place, so that when the project is passed to different editors, everybody knows where all the pieces go. It's like a puzzle. So you have to have a map, and you follow that map, and you usually don't have problems. So again, thank everyone for stopping by this evening. I will be back again tomorrow morning and talk a little bit about what I plan to do today. And again, the reason I get on this vertical live stream is to invite you to come to my channel. Invite you to come to my channel down here. You'll see it in the description below. Look at some of the content I've created. If you like it, share it. If you really like it, go look at some of the content I've grouped into playlists. I have a lot of playlists with a lot of similar content in it. Again, my goal here is to create more original content, YouTube first. And my content is going to be more humorous. As a matter of fact, probably this evening I have another humorous piece that I'm going to start delivering little by little. Might do some of the breakup, but I'm kind of swamped right now with my editing projects. So as I move forward, I'm going to continue to create that content and make it available to you guys. So if you like it, please subscribe, and please share it with your friends. And I will see you again tomorrow morning. I have an interesting piece here on the channel about artificial intelligence, a message to a lot of the young graduates who are worried they won't have jobs when they leave college. So take a look at that if that's your situation. Have some ideas and suggestions. So I will, oh, and in closing, I want to always remember to say, Sundays, noon, here on the channel, I'm here answering Q&A live. So join me, noon, California time, Pacific time on Sundays. I'll answer any questions you have about specific projects, and I enjoy that. I enjoy giving the feedback. And I'll have my YouTube studio open so I can see your comments in the bottom. Hello there. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone stopping by. I appreciate it. So I will see you again tomorrow. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, I'm sorry, I have to go. I'm about to step out. I just planned to get on here for about 10 minutes. My grandson is in there crying. He's ready for us to go. So I will see you tomorrow. All right, thank you. Thanks for stopping by.